Tonight, we journey into the hidden side of Star Wars, not to awaken, but to drift, gently, into the deep cosmic current that flows through all things. From secret apprentices to force dyads, from the world between worlds to the whispers of Yoda's origins. This is your quiet escape, in the hush of endless starlight. The lines of time blur like ink washed by cosmic tides. Far beyond the known systems, and beyond the guarded halls of Coruscant's Jedi temple, there lies a hidden realm, not bound by past or future, but woven between them, the world between worlds. Here, ancient arches of living blue light arch overhead, their luminescence pooling upon smooth obsidian floors. Each arch is a doorway, a silent threshold, humming with possibility. Pilgrims of the Force speak of these portals as threads in a vast tapestry, each strand a moment, each knot a choice long since made. Those who dare to step within feel the gentle tug of distant memories, the echo of footsteps long vanished. Ahsoka Tano discovered one such doorway on Lothal, concealed behind a Mortis mural in the abandoned Jedi temple. The mural's swirling paint hinted at hidden depths, but only when she laid her palm against the stone did the air shimmer and a corridor of azure light reveal itself. She felt the pulse of worlds unseen, a distant melody whispered on winds of time. Within these liminal halls, the Force resonates not as a current of strength or emotion, but as a living tapestry of fate. Moments stretch and fold, like the petals of a cosmic flower. A single step might carry a traveler from the dawn of the Old Republic to the twilight of the Empire, if only they slip lightly across the threshold. Yet the world between worlds is not a mere playground for the curious. It listens. It learns. It weaves new patterns from those who enter. An echo of a misstep could ripple outward, altering destinies in ways unseen. And so, very few know its paths, and fewer still return unchanged. Imagine a pool of light, swirling sky blue beneath columns carved with ancient glyphs. The air hums like a distant chorus, and every breath tastes of centuries. Starlight dances upon reflective walls, revealing fleeting glimpses of events both past and to come. A knight stands upon a forgotten battleground, saber unlit, eyes closed as the colors of history swirl around their silhouette. In that silent expanse, the Force feels neither light nor dark. It is balance, pure and unbroken. It beckons with a gentle invitation to see, to understand, to remember. But it does not grant mercy. The world between worlds demands respect, caution, and a heart unburdened by regret. Ahsoka reached a hand through one archway, and in an instant, she found herself witnessing the moment when Count Dooku confronted Qui-Gon on Sereno. The clash of blades echoed from another age, yet she stood apart, an unseen witness to history's turning wheel. Then, with a thought and a breath, she stepped back, the vision dissolving like mist under morning suns. Still, as she left, the arches behind her pulsed with quiet energy, as if aware of her passage. Each portal closed and reopened, waiting for the next seeker, brave enough to slip between the threads of time. For in this realm, the past and future are not fixed edicts, but living possibilities, and every whisper leaves its mark upon the tapestry. Each visitor leaves changed, carrying echoes beyond comprehension and quiet hope into the living galaxy. Beyond the last arch, a faint glow hints at deeper mysteries yet unsung. A corridor stretches on, beckoning with soft luminescence, a promise of secrets that await beyond sight. Gentle traveler, take heed. Step too far, and you may forget the path back. But stay too long, and the echoes may claim your soul. In the quiet hush of that hidden temple, amid the blue radiance of the world between worlds, there is a truth whispered by the Force itself, that time is not a river to be followed, but a tapestry to be explored, and within its threads lies the destiny of all who walk its light. Soft azure light faded into dusk, as the hidden arches of the world between worlds sealed behind you, and your path now leads deeper into legend's quiet pulse. In the hush left by cosmic doorways, a new mystery stirs. The realm of Mortis, where three divine avatars hold sway over the balance of all things. Beyond shifting mists of silver, three alabaster thrones stand arrayed in a perfect triangle, each carved from the living bone of ancient starships long decayed. The first throne glows with pure white light, the second bathed in soft gold, the third pulsing a blood-red hue. Together they surround a swirling void, a silent storm of mist that coils like a serpent's tongue. Here is where the Father, the Daughter, and the Son govern the ebb and flow of creation and destruction. The Father, draped in flowing robes of pale ivory, sits upon the white-lit seat. His voice, timeless and weary, echoes like wind through marble halls. He is the keeper of equilibrium, guiding the twin currents of light and shadow into a fragile dance. When he speaks, stars tremble and galaxies remember their roots. He is less deity than guardian, watching over his children's struggles to ensure the tapestry of fate remains whole. To his right, in golden luminescence, rests the Daughter, she who embodies life, compassion, and renewal. Her eyes shimmer with empathy so profound that even the most broken spirit feels the gentle stir of hope. Around her throne, vines of light coil and unfurl, breathing warmth into the cool chamber. Every step she takes leaves blossoms of pure energy, as if the very Force itself blooms at her touch. Opposite her, the sun perches upon his crimson dais, coiled in shadow and hunger. His laughter is the rattle of distant storms, his fingers tipped with yearning for chaos's sweet embrace. Under his gaze, the silver mist writhes like living smoke, eager to warp the will of any who wander too close. To the sun, suffering and pain are brushes with true power, passions that ignite the soul's deepest flame. Into this triad of cosmic force stepped Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one, drawn by destiny's silent summons. He arrived, weighed by prophecy, his heart a crucible of hope and fear. The Father's voice greeted him first, resonant as a heartbeat. You stand at the crossroads of fate, child of light. Anakin knelt before the white throne, feeling threads of possibility reach into his soul. The Daughter leaned forward, her voice a gentle serenade. Your compassion shapes the galaxy's course, but beware, mercy can become weakness. She reached out, and for a moment, Anakin tasted boundless peace, the whispered promise of a future free from war. Then the sun rose, eyes aflame, his lips curved in a predator's grin. And yet, pain grants strength beyond measure, he hissed. Shadows flickered across the chamber, as the sun beckoned Anakin to seize power unchecked. Caught between the three, Anakin felt the living force swirl around him, a tempest of choices unseen by mortal eyes. White, gold, crimson light danced upon his skin, each hue a verdict on his soul. For countless breaths, he wavered, the weight of destinies pressing upon his shoulders like twin suns. In the end, it was the father's sacrifice that broke the stalemate. Sensing the fabric of the universe fray, he rose from his seat, arms outstretched. Light cascaded outward, weaving a bridge of pure energy that bound daughter and son alike. With a final resonant whisper, balance must endure. The father melded into the vaulted ceiling, sealing the trio's power in a single, sacred heartbeat. As the echoes dwindled, Anakin found himself alone before the three thrones, each unmanned but still shimmering. He carried in his chest the father's wisdom, the daughter's empathy, and the son's fire, all tempered by sacrifice. When the silver mist receded, it revealed the corridor beyond, a path woven of starlight, leading ever onward. The chamber's glow softened, and the voices of Mortis faded into silence. Yet their resonance lingered. 3 notes of a cosmic symphony that would guide Anakin through trials to come and haunt the steps of every soul who dared to shape destiny's tapestry. Beyond the final arch, stardust drifts in gentle spirals, whispering promises of deeper mysteries. The journey continues. But remember, in every choice lies the echo of 3 throbbing hearts, bound by sacrifice, life, and shadow, gentle glow upon the obsidian spines of a hidden holocron chamber. Amber candles flicker like trapped suns, casting long shadows that slither along stone walls. Within this sacred vault, strands of golden force energy coil around sleeping data crystals, whispering secrets older than any recorded history. Here rests the memory of Darth Plagueis, the Dark Lord who bent the boundary between life and death. Some speak of him as a myth, a cautionary tale whispered in the halls of Coruscant's basements. Yet those who have delved into the swirling amber light know his shadow endures, a tapestry of ambition woven with threads of mortal fear. Lord Sidious once spoke of his master in hushed tones, recounting experiments so audacious they threatened the very weave of the living force. He learned to cradle midi-chlorian counts like a dark symphony, he confessed in private councils, until he believed he could forestall mortality itself. In that dim chamber, each holocron rests upon a pedestal carved from obsidian, its etched sigils pulsing faintly. The amber glow weaves between crystalline facets, as though the Force's heartbeat thrums within every prism. A single note of power can awaken slumbering fractures in this fragile balance. It was here that Plagueis discovered the alchemy of life, the art of coaxing the Force to cradle essence and renew dying flesh. His experiments danced upon the edge of madness, dredging lost techniques from Sith tombs forgotten by even the most ancient archives. He whispered to the symphony of midi-chlorians, urging them to weave vitality into each faltering cell. Lives healed under his hand, shadows of death receded before his will. Yet power demanded a price. His apprentice, patient, cunning, watched from the periphery, learning with silken restraint. Every whispered formula and stolen insight into the Force's architecture became fuel for a grand deception. In secret corridors, the apprentice catalogued each triumph and moment of doubt, weaving them into a darker tapestry. When the moment came, the apprentice's betrayal was as precise as a blade across a nerve. Plagueis stood before a vat of swirling energy, coaxing life into a dying creature when the chamber doors sealed behind him. The air thickened, and the golden coils stilled, as though the Force held its breath. Plagueis turned, knowing that death is the ultimate certainty, and that he had paid the highest cost of his own hubris. In that moment, the holocron faded, and the chamber plunged into darkness. No last words echoed in the silence, only the haunting question: who truly holds the power to command life and death? Even now, whispers drift through the hidden corridors of the Senate, carried on hushed breaths during late-night sessions. Recordings of Chancellor Palpatine, before he claimed the mantle of Sidious, describe his fascination with Plagueis's dark experiments. He coaxed life from the brink of death, Palpatine confided, his voice laced with awe. Senators speak of the tremor in his tone, as if the Sith's power still haunted him. From these shadows, Palpatine forged his own grand deception, weaving stolen teachings into a design for the galaxy's future. Thus, each holocron that mastered death became both shield and weapon, a reminder that power rooted in fear devours all. Now Plagueis's legacy lingers like a silent spectre, urging caution upon those who seek to conquer mortality. Always tread carefully, for the darkness remembers. Echoes of ancient betrayal fade as the cold holocron chamber dissolves into starlit mist. Ahead lies a sanctuary of still waters and whispered breath, a world concealed by veils of memory, where Yoda's people first emerged from the silent currents of the Force. Small, green-skinned figures stand knee-deep in misty swamps, their eyes reflecting the galaxy's silent heartbeat. They wade through murky waters, each footstep sending ripples across the surface like soft echoes through time. These enigmatic beings, born of the living Force, bear serenity and longevity unmatched. Legends speak of a homeworld lost to the galaxy's charts, an untamed planet veiled by storms and shrouded in twilight. Its skies pulsate with silent auroras of indigo and silver, and tangled roots of ancient trees stretch across phosphorescent marshes. Generations of emerald-skinned sages honed communion with the Force here, achieving memories deeper than any holocron could record. Yet theirs was a culture of humility, not conquest. In hidden sanctuaries, healers used their gift to mend wounds without a single word. Midi-chlorian currents were channeled through gentle palms, knitting flesh and spirit in a single breath. Tales tell of warriors returned whole after grievous injuries, their scars dissolved by soft waves of emerald light flowing from practiced hands. Scholars of the Jedi archives debate their origins. Some propose they were born of the Force itself, manifestations of cosmic energy given form. Others suggest their unique biology synergized with midi-chlorian flows, making them focal conduits of living power. A third school posits they once served as guardians of the world between worlds, retreating when they fulfilled their charge. Whatever the truth, their mark endures. Yoda, the Order's wisest master, carried their legacy through wars of light and dark. His pointed ears and deliberate gait spoke of a lineage that revered balance over power. He taught that serenity is a blade's counterweight. Without calm, passion becomes a fall. In every cadence of his voice, one senses the patience of centuries. The swampy groves here bear testament to those traits. Tall fungi glow with phosphorescent spores, drifting like fireflies under canopies, dripping with luminescent moss. The air hangs heavy with the scent of damp earth and the hum of unseen creatures. Vines cradle hidden pools of warm water, reflecting wandering stars and ancient glyphs etched along stone circles. In conflict's shadow, they stood firm. Warrior sages defended their world with sabers fashioned from Kyber shards found in crystalline caverns. Their blades glowed emerald, harmonizing with the living current they wielded. In those rare confrontations, they moved like silent storms, graceful, precise, and unyielding as the planet's ancient roots. Grogu's journey revealed fragments of these truths. In his Beskar-haired cocoon, he radiated a guardian's calm, sensing the pull of his people's heritage. Luke Skywalker watched as the youngling extended chubby fingers to touch mossy bark, his eyes shining with recognition. Through him, Luke glimpsed rituals of remembrance, soft chants echoing across moonlit ruins, where younglings drank from springs said to mirror the Force's source and learn the art of inner stillness. Now, as mist parts and silhouettes emerge, the pathway beckons onward. Beyond this grove lies the next revelation, the prophecy that bound Anakin Skywalker's fate and cast its shadow across generations. But pause here, breathe in ancient wisdom, and honor the quiet strength of a people woven from the Force itself. A final rite in the sacred groves gathered elders beneath bioluminescent archways. They raised voices in a resonant hymn, each note weaving through the mist like luminescent ribbons of prayer. In that convergence of many hearts, the living Force pulsed visibly, affirming that life's gentle melody endures beyond memory and starfire. In the stillness of these swampy depths, one truth remains. Serenity is not the absence of tempest, but the calm at its center. Carry this serenity with you as you move forward, for the next chapter awaits with echoes of prophecy and unfulfilled promise. Soft echoes of swampy stillness dissolve into the sunlit dunes of Tatooine, where two blazing orbs hover in silent vigil. In the hush left by ancient forests and hidden sanctuaries, another whisper rises across the galaxy. A prophecy older than the Jedi Order itself, promising a singular spark to reset the balance of all things. Legends tell of a child foretold by the Kyber-infused relics of the First Temple. In Coruscant's highest chambers, tapestries woven from starlight depict an infant held aloft beneath twin suns, golden rays weaving around outstretched fingers of nascent power. Oracles from distant worlds recite fragments of verse. One born of twilight shall extinguish encroaching shadows, a vessel of light and dark destined to bind their threads as one. Stories speak of ancient knights who etched these words into temple walls across the outer rim, their meanings shifting with every telling. Centuries before the Clone Wars, Jedi Masters convened in the solemn council chamber to debate this scripture. Dust motes drifted in shafts of pale illumination as guardians of peace gathered around crystalline holoprojectors. Master Yoda leaned forward, eyes reflecting the twin suns and the babe they cradled in legend. He murmured, Much fear I sense in this prophecy." Opposite him, Master Mace Windu's violet blade snapped to life, casting deep shadows across his stern features. "A child burdened by fate," he intoned, "must not be worshipped as myth. Our duty is to guide, not to expect saviors." Grandmaster Sifo Dyas, his long robes trailing like echoes of distant storms, tapped a slender finger against a holocron's surface. "Our expansionist zeal blinded us," he warned, voice low as thunder. "Balance lies not in eradicating darkness, but in harmonizing its currents with light." Murmurs rippled through the chamber, as some masters warned nurturing such a child might fan destiny's flames into uncontrollable conflagrations. Through stained windows, golden light glinted upon sky-born spires, weaving patterns of shadow that seemed to echo their unease. When Anakin Skywalker emerged on Naboo, his birth crystallized the Council's ancient debate. Shmi's breath caught in cold starlight as she held him aloft on the lake's serene shore, twin suns mirrored in her tears. His tiny form pulsed with life so potent that every Jedi within hollow call distance felt the tremor. Midi-chlorian readings soared beyond record. Off the charts, analysts whispered, defying comprehension and rewriting the metrics of potential. Scholars pored over data, astonished by a sovereign of life, cradled in an unassuming cradle. Yoda sensed a heartbeat in the Force, a quiver like a cord plucked too tightly. He closed his eyes, recalling the prophecy's words and the weight now borne by this single soul. "Powerful this child is," he murmured, voice echoing through the marble chamber. "But dangers I foresee, if fear is our guide." The gathered masters bowed their heads, the hush deepening as they contemplated the burden they had placed upon one fragile life. In that stillness, they glimpsed a deeper truth. Prophecies are not promises carved in stone, but seeds shaped by choice. A child can carry destiny or cast it aside, molded by guidance, love, and the lure of shadow. An infant held beneath twin suns may shine as a beacon or flicker into darkness, its path winding through forks of temptation and mercy. Golden light spilled into the desert wind, carrying echoes of forgotten verses back into the galaxy. Above the dunes, distant nebulae shimmered like watchful eyes, as though recognizing the dawn of a fate born long ago. In every silence between suns, the promise of balance waited upon the beat of a single, potent heart. Beyond the glittering horizon, ripples of shadow stir anew, drawn by the murmurs of prophecy. The journey ahead winds through currents of cosmic power and primal conflict. The story awaits your next steps. Gust of desert winds fade as twin suns' golden glow slips beyond the dunes, and ahead lies a tapestry of light and life. Two currents entwined through the cosmos. Where the chosen one's promise once shimmered, now we turn to the very essence of all power, the cosmic and the living force. Above the void, strands of starlight weave like veins through black silk, each pulse a whisper of creation. This is the cosmic force, the grand tapestry that binds galaxies, stars and nebulae into a single, flowing whole. It is the source that underpins reality's vast design, the quiet hum beneath every supernova's roar. When Jedi Masters close their eyes in meditation, they sense this web stretching infinitely in every direction, a lattice of potential waiting to be woven into life. Yet from this grand design emerges something more intimate, the living force. It thrums within every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of life. From the tiniest insect on Naboo's marshlands to the towering guardians of Ossus, the living current binds all beings in a symphony of existence. It is the melody beneath the chorus of galaxies, a tender resonance that reminds every creature of its place in the greater song. On the Death Star's barren hull, floating amid steel and shadow, Obi-Wan Kenobi once whispered counsel to a troubled captive. The station's corridors echoed with distant alarms, but in his mind, he envisioned the twin currents intertwining. The Force is not one stream alone, he told Luke, voice soft beneath the station's hum. The living Force is life's heartbeat, here and now. The cosmic force is the wellspring from which every heartbeat draws its song. His words drifted through cramped quarters, planting seeds of understanding that would guide a new generation. Imagine a vast web of starlit veins stretching across the void. Each filament shivers with energy, connecting star systems like constellations within constellations. In this sprawling lattice, every choice, every spark of life, echoes through the strands, altering the pattern in subtle yet profound ways. A Jedi's leap into hyperspace sends ripples across distant stars. A healer's touch in a swamp can lighten the weight of conflict across the galaxy. On Coruscant, scholars pore over ancient texts that describe rituals to honor both currents. They paint intricate mandalas in floating holocrons, each stroke blending azure arcs of cosmic light with emerald swirls of living energy. At the center, a seed of pure white symbolizes balance, the point where the currents converge in harmony. Yet balance is fragile. When one current overwhelms the other, the tapestry warps. Those who cling solely to the cosmic risk, losing themselves in abstraction, detached from life's tender heartbeat. Conversely, those who fixate on the living may become consumed by the immediacy of passion and pain, blinded to the broader tapestry's design. It was this tension that Obi-Wan felt in Luke. Under twin moons of Endor, he taught the young apprentice to feel the warmth of wind on his skin and the tremor of trees beneath his feet. Connections to the living force. Yet he also guided Luke's gaze upward, to the swirling galaxies above, where the cosmic force stretched beyond sight. "Feel both," Obi-Wan urged, "and you will walk the path of true balance." In moments of crisis, Jedi blend these currents into a single note of power. Consider the final strike against the Death Star. Swift decisions born of living impulse, channeled through wisdom gleaned from the cosmic tapestry. The shot that pierced the reactor was both lightning and echo, a surge of life's courage woven into the grand design. Now, as you stand upon a drifting platform of starlight, feel the dual currents swirl around you. Golden veins of cosmic energy pulse overhead, while emerald ripples of living force rise from the platform's core. In their conjunction lies the true strength of the galaxy, the quiet knowledge that life and destiny are forever intertwined. Ahead, shadows gather in silent anticipation of a new chapter. Grey Jedi who walk the edge between light and dark. Their path will test the harmony of these currents, challenging the boundaries of balance itself. Breathe deeply, let the currents guide you, and prepare to step into the twilight realm where harmony and shadow dance. Echoes of starlit currents fade as the last wisps of the cosmic and living force settle, and a solitary figure emerges on a twilight ridge. The Grey Jedi, standing at the threshold between light's brilliance and shadow's quiet pull. Here, on this windswept crest where dusk and dawn converge, their silhouette holds a silent promise, a saber unlit, yet humming with restrained possibility. Grey Jedi are not bound by rigid codes, nor do they succumb fully to the lure of night. They seek harmony in the tensions of emotion and reason, wielding compassion and conviction in equal measure. Their path is uncharted, spoken of only in hushed tones among the ancient halls of the temple and whispered rumors on distant worlds. Some view them as heretics, others as visionaries who glimpse the Force's true balance. Legend says their origin dates to the earliest days of the Order, when masters studied alongside scholars, delving into forbidden texts to grasp both light's clarity and darkness's depth. Over centuries, these rogue scholars coalesced into a whispered ideal, one neither sanctioned nor formally forbidden. Their teachings were never inscribed upon Jedi tablets, and yet they endured in margins and murmurs, a testament to the Force's boundless mystery. On a remote moon of the Outer Rim, a lone grey Jedi once faced down a dark acolyte who believed passion alone could forge destiny. Unlit blade in hand, the grey stood firm amidst swirling red mists, eyes calm as a still lake. Without igniting the saber, they channeled a pulse of living energy, the tension of two currents coalescing into a single silent wave that shattered the acolyte's fury. In that moment, the ridge itself seemed to breathe, affirming that harmony requires neither the absence of darkness nor the rejection of light, but their mindful interplay. Pablo Hidalgo, keeper of the Star Wars encyclopedic mind, confirmed that the Grey Jedi remain an uncharted ideal, a concept explored in legends and extended universe tales, yet never codified into the Order's tenets. Their philosophy beckons those who yearn to walk free of extremes, yet it offers no sanctuary from the consequences of choice. For every act of mercy there lurks temptation. For every embrace of passion, a shadow of excess. The grey path demands constant vigilance, a steady heart, and humility before the Force's vast expanse. Imagine a gallery of twilight ridges across the galaxy, each touched by the soft glow of distant stars. Figures stand alone on each one, some meditating beneath crimson skies, others surveying ruined temples as dawn's first fingers of light unfurl. Their sabers remain sheathed or unlit, symbols not of indecision but of conscious restraint. In the hush of those moments, the Force itself seems to hum in quiet approval, a note held between chapters of history. Yet the life of a Grey Jedi is lonely. Exiled by extremes, they often drift between worlds, assisting refugees one day, confronting Sith cultists the next. No home awaits them in the temple's spired halls. No cloak of darkness offers easy concealment. Their journey is a solitary vigil, guided by inner harmony rather than external decree. Each decision ripples outward, weaving new patterns in the unseen tapestry of fate. One such wanderer, known only as Serin Kael, walked the shattered remains of Dantooine's hallowed grounds, renewing broken holocrons with threads of living force. Pilgrims spoke of a gentle presence that healed wounds of body and mind, yet none knew his name. When asked, he simply smiled and vanished into the twilight, and in his wake, embers of hope glowed where despair once reigned. As dusk gives way to faint starlight, the ridge's edges blur into remembrance and possibility. The Grey Jedi's unlit saber becomes a beacon of potential rather than power, an invitation to embrace the full spectrum of the Force. Beyond the ridge lies the next trial, the silent guidance of the departed, where masters linger as ethereal echoes. There, lessons of mortality and legacy await. Step forward with care, for the path beyond is woven from whispers of the past and visions of what may come. Carry with you the memory of balanced edges, the hush of twilight ridges, and the silent hum of sabers unlit. Night's hush gives way to moonlight as the twilight ridge fades behind you. Ahead looms the silent sanctuary of marble corridors bathed in moonlight, where memories linger like mist and the departed find new purpose. Here, guardians of the Force transcend mortality, whispering guidance from realms unseen. These are the Force ghosts. In corridors lined with ancient pillars, faint figures drift beneath archways of carved stone. Their forms glow with green radiance, outlines shimmering as their voices ride on silent breaths. Each apparition carries a master's wisdom, woven from the living force. Qui-Gon Jinn was the first to breach death's veil, guided by secrets he uncovered in mystic archives. In hidden chambers beneath the temple on Polis Massa, he discovered rites to preserve consciousness beyond the final breath. His teachings passed into Yoda's hands, whose diminutive form belied his power. Through whispered instructions, Yoda learned to tether his spirit to the Force, returning as counsel to future generations. Obi-Wan Kenobi followed soon after. His dying sacrifice on Mustafar echoed in the Force, and through Qui-Gon's guidance, Obi-Wan anchored his essence to hope itself. When turmoil threatened the rebellion, his spectral form appeared to Luke Skywalker in the swamps of Dagobah, voice echoing beneath dripping vines. "Remember, Luke, the Force will be with you, always." It was a lesson in perseverance, his green-hued figure shimmering amid the mist. Imagine a moonlit temple where pillars soar like watchful sentinels. In the hall's center lies a circular dais carved with glyphs of communion. From its rim rises a glow that coils through bas-reliefs of past masters. Ghostly phantoms drift along walls, pausing before a glyph etched with their likeness, touching it as though anchoring memory. A young Padawan, faltering beneath war's weight, might find comfort in a spectral hand that steadies a tremor. A scholar, lost in halls, could hear a whisper urging deeper insight, reminding them that the Force is lived, not merely studied. The living can call upon these echoes. On Coruscant's highest spires, Jedi sometimes meditate at night, eyes closed as green-tinged shapes glide past stained glass windows. Breaths carry counsel. "Trust in the Force," Obi-Wan may murmur. "Let go of fear," Yoda might add. The voices intertwine, creating a silent chorus that resonates within the soul. Becoming a Force ghost demands sacrifice. One must relinquish attachment to self, embracing the living Force beyond form. Qui-Gon's journey proved arduous. He endured trials of spirit in a realm lit by radiant energy fields, shedding memories that bound him to the physical world. Only by surrendering fear of oblivion could he achieve the transcendence that allowed his guidance to persist. The process is perilous. A soul unprepared risks dissolving into the Force's vast ocean, lost amid its infinite strands. Success requires unwavering serenity, profound connection, and acceptance of change. Masters who achieve this gift become lighthouses in darkness, their spectral glow guiding new generations toward balance. These spectral guardians tether themselves to sacred sites. Ossus, the tomb of heroes, and Ahch-To's grove. Their luminescent echoes await seekers in crisis and doubt, reminding all that death is not an ending, but a change in form. In the moonlit corridors of the temple, flickers of movement catch the eye. Green-tinged phantoms gliding across marble floors, voices carried on silent breaths. Each apparition offers a fragment of wisdom, a warning against hubris, a reminder of compassion, an echo of courage. They move like drifting leaves on a pond of starlight, subtle yet constant. As you stand before the final arch of the hall, torchlight gives way to starlight. Beyond lies a world where philosophy and creed collide, the Jedi code against the Sith code. Heed their whispers, for in their calm glow lies wisdom to overcome. A pale glow filters through shattered windows as you leave the moonlit corridors of spectral wisdom behind, drawing you into a hall carved from ivory marble. Here, two tablets stand side by side, one bathed in tranquil blue light, the other aflame with red embers, each etched with ancient creed. You step between them, feeling the tension of opposing truths, the Jedi code and the Sith code, philosophy in conflict. The first tablet bears words hewn in serene script. There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force. These lines resonate with the stillness of starlit prayer halls, each phrase a vow to transcend the turbulence of feeling and embrace a calm clarity. Opposite, the Sith tablet blazes with a creed of fierce resolve. Peace is a lie, there is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. Here, passion is exalted as the crucible of power, chaos its catalyst. Every syllable crackles like lightning across an angry sky, promising that only by embracing desire can one grasp true freedom. Jedi Masters have long warned that to deny emotion entirely is to deny life itself. Yet they teach that unchecked feeling leads to attachment, fear, and ultimately suffering. In hushed chambers beneath Coruscant's spires, knights meditate on each line of their code, seeking the still point where peace can guide action without numbing the heart. In contrast, Sith acolytes carve their mantra with spatters of molten metal, chanting it in flame-lit sanctums on Korriban. They draw strength from every heartbeat, every surge of anger or longing, fueling their will until desire itself becomes a blade. For them, serenity is stagnation, and harmony a cage. Imagine standing between those glowing tablets, the blue and red lights pulsing like twin hearts. As you read each line, you sense the pull of both paths, a tug of war across your soul. The marble floor underfoot trembles with echoes of duels fought over these very creeds, sabers clashing in dusty tombs and vaulted archives alike. Obi-Wan Kenobi once spoke of these codes to young Luke Skywalker, warning that dogma can become a prison. A Jedi's strength flows from the Force, he said gently, voice echoing through training halls. But beware, cling too tightly to these words, and you will find your heart hardened. Luke listened, remembering the boiling rage that once drove him toward despair, and the calm conviction that ultimately guided his blade. On Mustafar, Darth Vader's fall exemplified the Sith's dark promise. He embraced passion, anger, grief, hatred, until each emotion forged him anew, stronger yet more fractured. His chains shattered him more completely than any liberation. In his crimson eyes, the Sith code burned like embers, a testament to power gained through suffering's crucible. Yet in rare moments, even Sith can glimpse the Jedi truth. A dying apprentice on a blood-soaked altar might murmur, "There is no death," as life seeps away. The echo of forbidden peace flickers beyond the roar of suffering, reminding us that conflict and tranquility are two faces of the same coin. As you step forward, the blue glow gently recedes, and the red flame cools to a deep ember. The hall's arches open onto a quiet courtyard, where stars glimmer like distant promises. In that silence, You sense that neither creed holds ultimate dominion. True mastery lies not in rigid adherence, but in understanding the heart's many currents and choosing wisely in each moment. Ahead, a narrow staircase winds downward toward hidden cults and forbidden rites, sectarians who twist the Force into arcane shapes. Their secrets await discovery, but only those who balance emotion and discipline can navigate the shadows without falling into them. Take a breath, feel the candle's warmth and the marble's cool touch. Let the teachings of both codes settle within you, not as chains, but as guides. For every path offers strength and peril, light and dark entwined like twin strands of fate. Moonlight slips away as the twin crests of philosophy close behind you, and you descend into a realm where the Force twists into forbidden shapes. Beneath blood-tinged moons, hidden sects gather in shadowed hollows, weaving arcane rites that pulse with dark hunger. These are the cults of the dark side, fringe orders shunned by Jedi and feared by even the Sith, and their secrets are carved in ichor and will. On the rugged world of Dathomir, the Night Sisters reign in midnight covens. Cloaked figures move in a circle of rune-etched stones, each symbol blazing emerald against swirling black mist. Their chants rise and fall like storms, voices low and urgent as they draw ichor from sacrificial bowls. The very air thickens, alive with the scent of damp earth and spilled blood. Strands of magical energy coil around their fingertips, igniting spectral shapes that dance like living shadows at the edge of sight. Rituals on Dathomir are more than incantations. They are bargains struck with the planet's primal currents. A Night Sister, her skin painted with crimson glyphs, presses her palm to a stone altar, and the mist parts to reveal a glowing glyph of the dark side. She whispers a name lost to time, and roots writhe beneath the stones, breaking open to reveal pulsating veins of raw power. With each heartbeat, the sisters bind themselves ever closer to the planet's soul, forsaking mercy and embracing the hunger that grants uncanny strength. Far across the outer rim, secretive Sith sorcerers practice their own blasphemies. In hidden towers on Ziost, acolytes study forbidden holocrons in vaults choked with swirling frost. They transcribe lost treatises on blood magic, seeking to bind spirits to service. One such sorcerer, Master Valkran, is said to have crafted a mask that drinks a victim's life force, transferring it into his own veins and prolonging his existence. His apprentices, gaunt and hollow-eyed, whisper of nightmares summoned from the void, creatures of living shadow bound to obey only the wearer of the mask. Amid these sects, forbidden orders blur the lines between tech and magic. On a decaying moon orbiting Korriban's red skies, a cult known as the Iron Hand fuses Kyber shards with living flesh. Their twisted experiments graft crystals into warriors' ribs, forging bone-white sabers that hum with pain. Each blade is a curse, singing the sorrows of its bearer in spectral whispers. Their temples echo with metallic screams as disciples learn to feed the crystals with their own fear, transforming agony into explosive power. These cults are rarely isolated. Networks of black market brokers trade relics stolen from Jedi graves. Vials of purified midi-chlorian blood, holocrons sealed with entropy wards, and manuscripts penned in dead languages. In the Eridan terrace of Coruscant's Undercity, merchants deal in these tokens of nightmare, their stalls lit by lanterns flickering red, a beacon for those drawn to the dark side's promise of forbidden knowledge. Yet, for all their power, these sects share one fatal flaw: isolation. Without the checks of balance, Their magic corrodes the spirit. Night Sisters driven mad by primal rage collapse into ashes when their power consumes them. Sith sorcerers who bind spirits too strong become vessels for vengeful ghosts. Iron Hand warriors shatter under the weight of Kyber-fueled torment. In every triumph lies the seed of ruin. Stories whisper of a masked figure who tread the line between these orders. A rogue Night Sister who stole a Sith holocron and vanished. Some say she forged an alliance that would bend all cults to her will. Others claim she perished when the combined darkness overwhelmed her soul. Her name is lost, but her legend endures as a warning that the dark side's gifts come wrapped in chains. As you step beyond the final circle of rutted stones, the blood moons sink below the horizon. The chant's echo fades into silence, replaced by the subtle hum of starlight above. Ahead lies the chapter of hidden heirs and shadowed legacies, Sidious's secret apprentices, forged in darkness and betrayal. Pause here, breathe in the night's chill, and steel your heart for the next revelation. Away from the echo of blackened altars and hidden rites, a deeper shadow waits in silent chambers carved beneath starless skies. Here, Emperor Palpatine forged heirs in secrecy, shadows flanked by humming holocrons, eyes glinting with unspoken ambition. These are the secret apprentices of the Dark Lord, phantoms of power born of betrayal and bound by darkness. In the youth of the Empire, a quiet, red-lit corridor led beneath the Senate's opulent halls into unseen depths. There, a figure hooded in onyx strode between rows of dormant holocrons. Each crystalline chamber pulsed faintly, as though sensing the ominous presence of their master's design. It was within these halls that Palpatine first observed his apprentice, Darth Maul, a warrior born of wrath, trained to channel hatred into a blade's furious dance. Maul's silhouette stood motionless before a holocron's glow, twin horns framed by crimson gleam. At the Emperor's command, he grasped a short saber hilt and ignited twin blades, their red arcs slicing through shadow. Behind him, the holocron pulsed in approval of raw potential, recognizing the bond between master and heir. In that moment, Maul became the first ghost in the Emperor's hidden gallery. Years passed, and Maul's betrayal by Sidious's rival apprentice left a void in the dark tapestry. Yet bloodline and ambition spun fresh strands of loyalty. In secret laboratories on Mustafar, Vader took his place among the hidden heirs. Beneath molten skies, Vader knelt before a circle of hovering holocrons, their amber light reflecting off his polished mask. Each holocron contained lessons of subjugation, torture techniques, command of fear, and the alchemy of suffering that turned flesh into fuel. In hushed sessions that followed, Palpatine's whisper echoed through the chamber. "Embrace the power of dread," he urged, voice a silken snare. Acolytes carved their oaths into walls of living rock, binding them to the dark creed. Every word became a chain forging absolute loyalty. Yet each apprentice yearned for more, pushing beyond limits set by their master. When Vader rose, he wore his master's doctrine like armor. His gloved fist clenched a new lightsaber, its blade humming with absorbed terror. The holocrons hummed in dark chorus, acknowledging the cycle of betrayal renewed. Apprentice supplanting apprentice, the rule of two enforced through unending ambition. But Palpatine's designs extended beyond Vader's shadow. In distant sectors, he commissioned projects to create phantom successors, spiritual echoes of his power. One such project produced the Sleeper, a clone engineered with secret imprints of his essence. Yet the clone's mind fractured under the weight of implanted memories, leaving behind only fleeting flashes of cruelty before dissolving into madness. Later, whispers reached the outer systems of a rising figure called Snoke. Hunched within a hidden citadel, Snoke's skeletal frame leaned over arcane devices, his fist tracing sigils on hollow emitters. Behind him, holocrons forfeit by fallen acolytes orbited like dying stars. Snoke absorbed their fractured knowledge, weaving a tapestry of Sith sorcery laced with ancient rites from Dathomir and Korriban. His eyes, a pale burn in a gaunt face, spoke of betrayals yet to come. Through these apprentices, Palpatine's will echoed across the galaxy. Each heir carried a fragment of his dark philosophy. Maul's hatred, Vader's fear, Snoke's twisted cunning. In sealed archives beneath Exile, his final apprentices slumbered, clones grown in vats of living force-imbued embryos. Their DNA bore Palpatine's secret marks, ready to awaken when the Dark Chronicle demanded new champions. Yet betrayal remained the masterstroke. Maul turned against his rival. Vader clashed with remnants of his former self, and Snoke's death at his own protege's hand proved no dark bond unbreakable. Now, as you move beyond the final arch of this hidden gallery, you step into the dim glow and radiant light of a different legacy, the rule of two made flesh by Darth Bane and the Sith's ancient decree. There, the origins of all Sith power await, woven from fury, survival, and relentless ambition. Beneath a blood moon sky, two crimson sabers ignite in mirrored arcs, casting embers dancing through silent dust. Their clash echoes across deserted halls where only ghosts remember the old ways. This is the genesis of a new creed, the rule of two, born from ruin and forged in necessity by Darth Bane. Centuries before Palpatine's hidden heirs, the Sith Order sprawled in countless hordes, each lord claiming the mantle of ultimate power. Rivalries tore them apart as each sought dominion through betrayal. Their legacy became a cycle of endless slaughter, victory consumed by a rival's blade. It was Bane who stood amid the carnage on Ruusan, a lone figure surveying the fragmented corpses of Jedi and Sith alike. From that devastation, he heard the Force whisper its harsh decree. In the war's aftermath, Bane emerged from the Valley of Shrouds and fallen relics. The air still hummed with memories of Nova bombs and ruptured battle cruisers. He walked through the ruin, each step an embodiment of the Sith maxim that power is born of suffering. Kneeling beside the shattered statue of the ancient Sith Lord Naga Sadow, Bane vowed to reshape destiny through singular lines of succession, rather than endless legions. Thus, the rule of two was decreed: one master to embody strength, one apprentice to crave it. This duality ensured secrecy, consolidating the Sith's essence into two vessels: masters safeguarding ancient lore, apprentices sharpening ambition in service of a dark legacy. No longer would the Order's power be squandered in civil war. Instead, it would be passed from master to chosen successor in shadows, growing ever stronger in the void. Hidden conclaves became the new temples, caverns carved beneath starless skies, chambers lit by the glow of buried holocrons. There, Bane imparted forbidden teachings to his apprentice, Darth Zana, whose curiosity burned as fiercely as her master's. Under his tutelage, she learned to weave passion into precision, trust into treachery. Every lesson reinforced the truth that the Sith thrive in secrecy, their greatest weapon. the unseen promise of power. From Bane to Molag Bal, from Kaan to Sidious, each Sith master obeyed the rule's tenet, ensuring the Order's survival. Even when loopholes tempted deviation, secret siblings, hidden cults, or ancient spirit bonds, masters quashed them swiftly, fearing the internecine conflict that birthed Bane's decree. Yet the rule was not without its cracks. Some masters coveted multiple apprentices, weaving covert webs of influence to shield their chosen line. Others experimented with spirit projection, binding their essence across star systems to guide more than one successor. Even spirit transfers forged in hidden Sith labs tested the rule's limits. Yet each master knew that true power thrives in disciplined solitude. Each breach risked exposure, threatening the fragile balance between master's power and apprentice's hunger. On Korriban's red sands, a rogue acolyte discovered Bane's tomb, unearthing holocrons that revealed forbidden variants of the rule. In their hubris, they sought to rival their master by training 2 apprentices in parallel, a gambit that ended in mutual betrayal and the ruin of their citadel. The ruins stand as testament. Deviation from the rule invites destruction. As the centuries passed, the rule of 2 shaped history's shadows. Sidious honored it to ascend undetected, his apprentice Vader enforcing his will in whispered tyranny. Vader himself toyed with exceptions, harboring visions of secret heirs like Starkiller. Today, beneath the silent glow of distant suns, twin crimson sabers cross again, reminding the galaxy that the Sith's true strength is born not from numbers, but from cunning, secrecy, and ruthless individuality. The embers drifting through silent dust are echoes of Bane's vision, proving that restraint can breed power and that in solitude, darkness finds its fullest voice. Across the stars, the Jedi Order watches uneasily, aware that the rule's shadows still stretch across time. Their vigilance persists, for where 2 shadows merge, one will rise, and the silent duel continues to shape destiny's canvas. Dust motes swirl in the fading torchlight as you step into a chamber of solemn silence. Along one side, 20 council chairs stand in mournful procession, their dust-laden robes draped like forgotten memories. At the far end, a lone candle flickers, its amber glow revealing faint inscriptions carved into marble, names barely legible beneath centuries of neglect. These are the lost 20, Jedi Masters who vanished from all records, their departures noted only by cryptic margin notes in the temple's oldest tomes. In the vaulted archives, a slender volume lies open on a lectern, its pages yellowed and brittle. Each entry lists a master's name: Koran, Talana, Merin, and 17 others, followed by a symbol, a crescent encircling 3 dots. Scribes scratched this sigil beside each departure, yet no one in modern times recalls its meaning. Scholars whisper that the crescent denotes hidden journeys, but what those journeys entailed remains buried in secrecy. Legends speak of Master Taliesin, who disappeared after a prophesied encounter on the floating isles of Feilun. He was last seen meditating beneath a bridge of living crystal, pursuing visions of force tendrils that led him beyond known space. When the conclave sought him, they found only his lightsaber, its emerald blade extinguished, resting atop a stone altar. No farewell. In the margin of his record, a lone word: transcendence. Master Neela Veer climbed the spired towers of Coruscant's highest district, drawn by whispers of a hidden shrine devoted to the world between worlds. Nights passed as she scaled jade-clad staircases and decoded runic glyphs. On the eve of her departure, she left a letter sealed in the temple's antechamber. I follow the currents where the Force calls me. After that, her name appeared no more, though neon-lit alcoves still echo with rumors of a green-robed silhouette drifting through unseen doorways. Some masters sought solitude rather than destiny. Brother Auron, famed for healing at the Battle of Ryloth, removed his own name from the roster and retreated to an ice-cracked moon in the Outer Rim. He established a silent enclave, ministering to exiles and forgotten sentients. His presence waned over decades, and by the time the Jedi Knights attempted contact, the moon lay abandoned, save for a single, unextinguished torch outside a crumbled hut. The margin notes offer scant clues. Phrases like "beyond judgment," "guarding secrets," and "between worlds." A few entries bear only a blank line after the name, as if the scribe dared not record the reason, fearing the ink might capture something better left unspoken. When Grandmaster Yaddle first encountered these anomalies, she ordered a private investigation into the temple's deepest vaults, but even her mastery could not unravel the sigil's purpose. Imagery of empty chairs and flickering candles pervades the temple's hidden alcoves. Pilgrims speak of a quiet corridor where, at precisely midnight, robes drift from seats as though claimed by unseen figures. The air hums with soft resonance, and visitors feel the gentle brush of unseen hands guiding their steps. Some claim they have heard faint whispers, notes of ancient chants. Yet when dawn breaks, the corridor stands empty once more. The Lost 20's legacy endures not in their deeds, but in absence. Their silence resonates like a melody half-remembered, an invitation to ponder the Force's mysteries beyond institutional bounds. Perhaps they found new pathways to enlightenment, or accepted roles as guardians of hidden realms. Maybe they joined the clandestine conclave of Force scholars, rumored to convene beneath Ilum's ice, preserving knowledge too dangerous for the living galaxy. Among the most renowned of the Lost 20 is Count Dooku, once a respected Jedi Master who became disillusioned with the Jedi Order's involvement in galactic politics and its perceived moral compromises. Dooku's departure was marked by his return to his homeworld of Sereno, where he reclaimed his title and eventually became a central figure in the rise of the separatist movement. His fall to the dark side and transformation into Darth Tyrannus served as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of ideological divergence within the Jedi ranks. The Jedi Order commemorated the Lost 20 with bronzium busts displayed in the Jedi archives, each representing a master who chose to leave the Order. These busts served as a somber acknowledgement of the Order's imperfections and the complex nature of its members' journeys. The reasons for each departure were often left unrecorded, inviting contemplation and reflection among those who walked the halls of the temple. Beyond this candlelit hall, a narrow passage descends into shadows, promising glimpses of worlds touched by Jedi grace and places where light and dark entwine. There, the next chapter awaits. Leia Organa's untold journey in secret tutelage, her latent powers honed beyond the eyes of the Council. Pause in this quiet vigil. Feel the echo of chairs unfilled, the hum of unspoken vows, and the promise that some destinies lie not in recorded history, but in the spaces between words. Mist-shrouded corridors of the temple fade behind you as your path unfurls toward Chandrila's gentle orchards. Here, beneath blossoming boughs pink with twilight petals, a silver-cloaked figure moves with quiet purpose. Leia Organa, heir to the Force, yet hidden from prying eyes. In secret groves carved from Chandrila's rolling hills, Luke Skywalker instructed his sister in the subtle art of serenity. While the galaxy recoiled from their lineage, far from Coruscant's spires, they wove soft threads of destiny. Leia's training began at dawn, when dew still clung to blossoms and the air sang with birdsong. Guided by Luke's calm presence, she learned to still her breath, to feel the hum of living force energy coursing through petals and roots. Graceful saber forms emerged in her hands, each movement a dance of light against the fading sky. Her blade, crafted by a hidden smith from Kyber shards sourced on Ilum, glowed pale silver, echoing her cloak and mirroring the gentle glow of lanterns strung among orchard trees. In these secluded sessions, she practiced the flowing sequence known as the Water's Embrace, learning to blend defense and counter, each parry a reflection of her innate compassion. Leia's latent abilities surfaced in unexpected ways. One evening, a wounded fox cub lay trembling among fallen petals. She knelt, placing a hand upon its fur. Under her palm, the cub's heart faltered no more. Warmth flowed through its limbs, as if the Force breathed life into its fading breath. Luke watched from the shadows, sensing his sister's gift bloom stronger than even his own early promise. Yet such power demanded balance. Leia wrestled with the weight of legacy. Senator's daughter, rebel leader, potential Jedi. In private moments beneath lantern-lit arches, she confided in Luke, voice soft as chiffon. "Am I worthy?" she asked, the orchards echoing her question. Luke's answer was a whisper of conviction. Worthy is the heart that chooses compassion over fear. Let that guide you. Their lessons expanded beyond combat and healing. Luke revealed hidden Jedi archives smuggled to Chandrila after the fall of the temple. They pored over scrolls detailing the living force's whispers, instruction to sense the tremors of sentient life across worlds. Guided by these texts, Leia honed telepathic skills, reaching out across miles to calm panicked pilots fleeing ambush, or to steady the racing minds of allies before battle. Word of Leia's secret tutelage spread among loyalists. A small circle of confidants gathered under moonlit bowers to witness her growth. Admiral Ackbar, mask lifted in awe as she deflected a barrage of training droids. Mon Mothma, eyes bright with pride, as Leia summoned a gust of wind to disperse ash from a burned-out village temple. Still, the sessions remained hidden, each witness sworn to silence lest Imperial spies uncover the budding Jedi. Leia's reflections deepened her understanding of unity. One twilight, she sat with Luke at the edge of a crystalline pond. Petals drifted across its surface like living starlight. He spoke of the world between worlds, of threads connecting all moments. Leia closed her eyes and saw the Force's tapestry stretch between them, binding twin suns, dying heroes, and the unborn echoes of hope yet to come. Through secret practice, Leia mastered the art of kinesthetic empathy, feeling another's pain as if it were her own, then releasing it like water through clenched fingers. This ability became her silent strength in diplomacy. A mere touch could soothe rancor between rival senators or quell fear in refugee camps. All the while, her saber forms grew more fluid, reflecting the unity she championed. Her final trial came beneath a blood-red harvest moon. Luke orchestrated a test, intricate spheres of levitating fruit, spinning in concentric rings. Leia moved among them, weaving the water's embrace and the lotus bloom form, each strike a careful negotiation between power and grace. When the spheres stilled at her feet, the orchard stood silent in awe. Leia clasped her saber to her chest, feeling the force awaken within every blossom and blade of grass. As dawn's first light kissed the treetops, Leia stood alone beneath the arch of flowering branches. Silver-cloaked and steadfast, she embodied promise and potential. Ahead lie new challenges, from Ezra's final stand to Padmé's unsettled mysteries, from frozen tombs to oceanic temples. Yet here, in Chandrila's twilight orchards, Leia's journey found its quiet beginning. In time, Leia's path would take her to Ahch-To, where she would train Rey in the ways of the Jedi during the First Order Resistance War. Gentle desert winds carry the memory of twilight orchards as you leave Leia's hidden groves behind, and your path now leads to a remote hermitage beneath Tatooine's twin suns. Here, on a lonely dune, stands a weathered hut of salvaged metal and worn canvas, Obi-Wan Kenobi's refuge for 2 silent decades, where each sunrise and sunset marks another vigil kept in hope and regret. At dawn, the first light spills across sandy plains, painting ripples in gold and amber. Inside the hut, robes hang on a battered peg, still shaped by the form of the Jedi who once wore them. Obi-Wan rises before daybreak, eyes drawn to the horizon where 2 suns emerge, their orbits a constant reminder of the boy he vowed to protect and the brother he could not save. Each morning, he performs a quiet ritual. Settling onto a rough-hewn bench, he closes his eyes and breathes deeply, drawing on the living force. Visions come unbidden, fragments of past glories and failures. He sees Qui-Gon's calm smile, feels his master's gentle insistence on following the Force's will. He recalls the final duel on Mustafar, each clash of blades echoing in his mind as though still ringing through volcanic air. When the suns reach their zenith, Obi-Wan ventures outside to patrol the boundary of Luke's hidden home. He moves like a spectre across dunes, senses attuned to any disturbance, shuffling creatures, stray sandstorms, or Imperial probes searching for farm boy whispers in the wind. At times, he pauses to lift a weathered holocron, tracing its etched symbols with calloused fingers, remembering Yoda's warning that even the smallest spark can ignite the galaxy. In the sweltering midday heat, he recalls moments beneath Coruscant's spires, council debates, the weight of prophecy, and the promise he made to Shmi Skywalker. He wonders if, in saving Luke, he betrayed his own path. Regret stirs as he conjures the memory of Anakin's fall. His friends' laughter turned to mechanized breath and remorseful screams. Yet in that sorrow, Obi-Wan finds renewed purpose, to shield hope from darkness's ever-hungry grasp. Evening brings cooler air and long shadows. Obi-Wan often walks to a ridge overlooking the Lars homestead, watching Owen and Beru tend their moisture farm, unaware of the Guardian perched beyond view. He marvels at Luke's laughter drifting through windows, a sound more precious than any Jedi victory. In those hours, he allows himself rare moments of peace, recalling his own youth, bright-eyed and ready to face the galaxy's dangers alongside his apprentice. Nightfall deepens the desert's quiet, and Obi-Wan returns to his hut for lantern-lit meditation. He opens a battered journal, inscribing lessons learned in solitude, the resilience of faith, the value of silent watchfulness, and the paradox of attachment and detachment. His words flow softly, like ripples across a still pond, each stroke affirming that protection sometimes means letting love endure from afar. On nights when twin moons rise, Obi-Wan lights a single candle by the hut's entrance. Its flame dances with the wind, casting flickering patterns on sand-worn walls. He senses the presence of ancient Jedi before him, masters who faced exile and emerged wiser for their trials. Their voices mingle in the Force, urgent reminders to guide without guiding, to teach without overt instruction, and to remain ever vigilant. Decades of solitude have honed Obi-Wan's senses to a razor's edge. He perceives subtle shifts in the Force, the approach of sand skiffs, blaster fire miles away, or the soft question in Luke's dreams. Echoes of destiny seeking form. In these silent dialogues, he finds purpose as guardian and mentor, even as the galaxy beyond roars with reborn conflicts. As the dawn of another day beckons, Obi-Wan stands at his hut's threshold, cloak billowing in pale morning light. Two suns climb once more, and his vigil continues, unchanged, unwavering, and unending. His heart carries regrets of what was lost and hopes for what may yet be. Beyond the next dune, new tales await. Ezra Bridger's final stand with the Purrgil and the mysteries of Padmé Amidala's tragic end. But here, on Tatooine's endless sands, Obi-Wan's exile endures as both penance and promise, a silent watch beneath twin suns until the galaxy finds its way again. A breeze of desert wind gives way to the silent expanse of space as you leave Obi-Wan's vigil beneath twin suns, and your journey now carries you to the shadowed corridors of Malachor. Here, among fractured temples and blood-stained stone, Ezra Bridger made his final stand, summoning Leviathan-sized whales whose haunting calls would carry him beyond known charts. Long before his departure, Ezra wandered these ruins with a heart torn between hope and despair. Malachor's once proud spires lay shattered, the darkest echoes of the Sith War etched into every crumbling pillar. Beneath rotting staircases and shattered holocrons, the young Jedi sensed currents of living Force energy coiling like serpents, beckoning him to reshape fate itself. As Imperial forces descended upon the hidden temple, Ezra rallied his comrades. Sabine wielding her artistry-infused sabers, Kanan standing firm in calm resolve, and Hera's fleet poised beyond the planet's crust. Yet enemy numbers overwhelmed them, blaster fire echoing through collapsed archways, and hope dimmed beneath Malachor's oppressive skies. In that moment, Ezra sought solace in the dying Force. He climbed the central dais, where ancient glyphs spiraled across stone, each marking a sacrifice woven into the world's blood-soaked memory. He raised both arms, tears glinting in his eyes, and called upon the Purrgil, the mythical space whales whispered of in Outer Rim legends, creatures so vast their song could ripple through hyperspace itself. At first, nothing stirred. The air trembled with silence. Then, faint vibrations pulsed beneath the ground, like the heartbeat of the galaxy awakening. Kanan's voice broke through the hush. "Ezra, be careful." But Ezra did not falter. He closed his eyes, willing the whales to answer his summons. Above the shattered rooftops, a violet haze formed at the horizon. It grew in tendrils of shimmering light, hyperspace made visible, and within its coils, gargantuan silhouettes emerged. One by one, Leviathan-sized whales breached the threshold between dimensions, their bodies arcing through violet currents like living comets. Their calls, low, resonant hums, vibrated through the Force, carrying both sorrow and hope. Ezra opened his eyes to their luminous forms, each whale's eye reflecting starlight. He stepped forward, sabers sheathed. and raised a single hand in farewell. "Take me with you," he whispered into the gathering haze. His voice was carried away on the whale's rippling song. In that moment, a wave of force energy washed across the scarred plains. Ezra's friends felt his presence slip away, first as a tremor in their hearts, then as a gentle hush where his laughter once echoed. Kanan reached out, but the living force had already folded him into a new current beyond reach. The Purgil spiraled upward, trailing streams of violet light. Ezra stood alone on the dais, robes billowing in otherworldly wind, a solitary figure silhouetted against the whale's glowing forms. As they breached the boundary of space and time, he raised his blades one last time, not in defiance, but in gratitude for a life lived in the service of hope. When the whales vanished into hyperspace, the temple lay still once more. Only ripples of violet light remained, dissolved by Malakor's starlight. Sabine and Hera rushed to the dais, finding only the echo of Ezra's final stand, a single holocron, open to a page of his star-charted dreams. His sacrifice became legend among those who survived. Rebel cells spoke of the Jedi who dared to bend the galaxy's currents, and the Purgil whose song transcended worlds. Ezra's image, hand-raised in farewell beneath the violet sky, was painted on hidden walls and carved into remembrance tokens passed between allies. Yet, in the living force, his journey endures. Some nights, mystics sense a distant melody, a soft rumble that fades into the cosmic tapestry. It is said that Ezra travels among the stars, the Purgil's silent guide, his spirit woven into the whale's ancient song. Beyond Malakor's silent stones, new tales await discovery. Padmé Amidala's unresolved fate, the frozen depths of Ilum's crystalline caves, and the living saga of worlds where light and dark dance ever onward. But wherever the Purgil roam, Ezra's legacy carries on. An echo of sacrifice, a promise that hope can summon miracles even in the galaxy's darkest hour. A hush of sterile air greets you as you leave Malakor's violet haze behind, and your path carries you into a silent hospital chamber awash in pale twilight. Here, beneath curved window arches framing twin suns setting like molten orbs, lies the tragedy of Padmé Amidala, her final moments steeped in questions of heartbreak and dark design. A white-gowned figure drifts between beds, her presence as fragile as the fading light. Medical droids hover in quiet procession, scanning vital readings that refuse to explain her decline. No physical wound mars her form, no poison marker glints in her bloodstream. Yet life seeps from her with each labored breath, as though destiny itself conspires to draw her back into the Force. Senator Bail Organa stood at her side, voice hushed as he recorded her last words. "There is still good in him." Those words echoed through sterile halls, a final testament to love's enduring spark, even in the face of darkness. In that moment, Padmé's eyes shone with conviction, an unyielding belief that Anakin Skywalker, swallowed by shadow, could still be saved. Whispers began almost at once. Some claimed her death was engineered by Palpatine, a calculated stroke to cement Darth Vader's transformation and eliminate the last tether to Anakin's humanity. Imperial spokesmen offered a different narrative. Padmé's heart broke of its own accord, undone by grief at her husband's fall. Yet, the lack of physical cause fueled rumors of forbidden Sith rites woven into her final hours. In a hidden chamber beneath the Senate, an aide discovered fragments of intercepted communications, encrypted messages hinting at clandestine experiments in life and death. They spoke of synthetic midi-chlorian compounds and ritual invocations echoing Plagueis' ancient alchemy. Though these transmissions were swiftly purged, whispers persisted that Palpatine had orchestrated Padmé's demise to perfect his grand deception. Within the Jedi archives, viewing holoprojectors replayed her final hours. Some masters argued her death was a sorrowful byproduct of Anakin's own torment, the Force silently tearing her life away as it pulled her husband toward the abyss. Others believed her last breath was the Force's judgment, a cosmic balance demanding the exchange of one life for another. Light extinguished to awaken greater light. Key imagery haunts these visions. Padmé, clad in ivory robes, weightless as snow, fading against the halo of twin suns beyond her window. Golden rays wove around her like halos of unspoken promise, staining walls with bittersweet farewell. In that moment, the galaxy held its breath, caught between hope and despair. In the halls of Mustafa's ancient temples, Night Sisters whispered of dark rituals performed on Padmé's body, secret rites to siphon her latent power and bind it to the emerging Sith. They spoke of ichor-tipped daggers and bone-etched runes carved into her flesh after death. Yet these accounts emerged only in rumor mills, and no evidence survived to confirm or deny their truth. Decades later, scholars of the new Jedi Order revisit her case, uncovering rifts in official records. Tucked between Senate transcripts and medical logs, they find margin notes. Subject succumbed to broken spirit, and circumstances warrant deeper inquiry. These cryptic annotations suggest that even those closest to Padmé sensed something beyond mere sorrow, a current of Force alchemy too potent to ignore. Her death's true nature remains an echo in the Force. Was it the cruel thrust of Sith manipulation, a final gambit to sever Anakin's humanity? Or was it love's own fracture, a heart worn thin by grief and betrayal? In that silent chamber, where the twin suns sank below the horizon, Padmé Amidala slipped between worlds with a promise that still ripples through history. As the last glow of daylight fades, the chamber grows still. Only the soft hum of idle droids remains, and the knowledge that some truths lie beyond mortal reach. The path ahead leads you from mortal tragedy into the Arctic depths of Ilum's crystalline caverns, where Jedi initiates once gathered Kyber crystals, and where the legacy of light and dark continues its silent dance. Pause here, feel the weight of love's final breath, and steel your heart for the frozen wonders that await. Frost whispers across fractured spires as you leave the silent chamber of Padmé's farewell behind, guiding you toward an Arctic world where light and ice converge. Ilum's winds carve crystalline tunnels beneath fields of snow. Each gust carrying the memory of Jedi initiates who once knelt here to claim their Kyber shards. Those living crystals thrummed with pure resonance, hope forged by the Force, until darkness hollowed their caverns and sent their power hurtling toward a new tyranny. In ages past, young acolytes crossed frozen plains at dawn, breath pluming in the frigid air. Beneath ice-choked arches, glittering with living crystals, they formed a solemn circle. Masters watched in silence as each trainee placed trembling hands upon the crystalline walls. The Kyber responded, veins of light unfurling toward the bravest soul, until a shard broke free, humming like a heartbeat in their grasp. With that shard, the initiate crafted a lightsaber, a beacon of hope born of Ilum's frozen heart. Legends say the first Jedi temple stood atop Ilum's highest glacier, its spires carved from ice and stone, reflecting twin moons in every window. Within its halls, the cosmic and living Force intertwined, as novices learned to shape their blades and spirits in equal measure. They chanted beneath vast domes where auroras danced in storms of blue and green, forging a covenant between living will and cosmic design. Centuries later, the clones of the Grand Army tore through Ilum's caverns under orders to harvest crystals for the Republic's new weaponry. Their drills echoed in silent tunnels as they gouged living ice, heedless of the temple's sacred legacy. Still, some Jedi returned in secret to shield the crystals, draping robes over open fissures and chanting wards of protection until the last shard was stolen. When the Empire rose, Ilum fell silent. Stormtroopers patrolled snowy ridges, and Imperial architects carved new chambers. Steel corridors bored deep into the planet's bones. In those hidden vaults, scientists tested Kyber spectral resonance, seeking to harness the crystal's raw power for greater destruction. Their greatest triumph, and darkest perversion, came with Starkiller Base. On a world hollowed by frost and fire, the Empire's engineers fueled a superweapon whose reactor cores glowed with crimson fury. Countless Kyber crystals, once sanctified by Jedi prayer, now ignited a beam capable of extinguishing entire star systems. Ice-choked tunnels were reforged into conduits of fire, and living crystals that once pulsed with life became embers feeding a nightmare. Key imagery endures. Tunnels once glittering like constellations now hollowed by fire, their walls scorched and flaking as red reactor cores burned deep within. Snowstorms swirl above hidden exhaust vents where superheated fog rises like ghostly mists. At the heart of the base, a chamber vast as a cathedral holds the dread beam's focusing lens, its crystal lattice ringing with suppressed agony, a symphony of sorrow and broken promise. Yet echoes of Ilum's original light persist in secret. Rogue scholars of the New Republic uncovered hidden caches of Kyber fragments beneath hollowed corridors, preserving shards too small for a superweapon, but rich with living force. These remnants now rest in sanctuaries where new Jedi heal their scars, crafting sabers that glimmer with emerald hope rather than crimson despair. On a distant moon, a silent order gathers beneath translucent domes imported from Ilum's abandoned temples. Novices practice forms under starlight that filters through frozen ceilings, their blades sparking with gentle resonance. Each movement honors the memory of those who first walked the glacial halls, hands extended toward crystals that once chose them as champions of balance. The transition from Ilum's frozen reverence to Starkiller Base's hollow fury marks a stark lesson. Power untethered from compassion becomes a weapon of annihilation. Yet when courage endures, even shattered crystals can be reborn into symbols of hope. The same veins that once guided Kyber shards toward aspiring Jedi now guide future generations in their quest to restore balance. Beyond the hollowed chambers of Starkiller's reactor lies a hidden path, lit by faint auroras shimmering through frigid clouds. There, the next chapter awaits, Dagobah's dark side cave, where fear takes form and destiny is tested beneath dripping roots and shadowed water. Pause here, let the frost's memory linger in your bones, and ready yourself for the trials that simmer beneath Dagobah's misty canopy. Mists swirl as you leave Ilum's frozen echoes behind, guiding you to Dagobah's swamp-shrouded depths. Beneath tangled vines and dripping roots lies a cavern steeped in dark current, where the Force's shadow takes form, manifesting fear itself to test the will of any who enter. The cave's entrance yawns like a silent maw, twisted roots framing its gaping darkness. As you step onto the slick stone, the air grows heavy with humid rot and ancient sorrow. Lantern light reveals walls slick with moisture, each droplet refracting faint luminescence from bioluminescent fungi. A low hum vibrates beneath your feet, the living echo of a dark current pulsing through this forsaken place. Venturing deeper, you come upon a murky pool still as held breath. Its surface mirrors your reflection, yet the image shifts, your face obscured by a mask of bone and steel, eyes glowing with dread. The water trembles, rippling outward as if disturbed by unseen anguish. Here, fear is not an abstract notion, but a living adversary, drawn from memory and channeled by the cave's ancient will. Luke Skywalker first faced this trial as a young apprentice, compelled by Master Yoda's teaching. Face your fear and pass this test. His green blade ignited with a soft hum, casting wavering light upon dripping roots that curled like serpents overhead. Each step echoed in the cavern's cold hush, his breath quickening as shadows danced at the edge of sight. Suddenly mist parted to reveal a spectre clad in Vader-like armor, its mask gleaming beneath phantom lightning. The figure raised a saber identical in hue to Vader's crimson blade, as if drawn from Luke's deepest dread. The two blades ignited in unison, their light carving red and green arcs across the stone floor. Their duel began with cautious strikes, each blow a dialogue between hope and despair. The spectre's saber flashed in silent fury, foreshadowing the dark destiny that once beckoned Luke. He parried with measured defense, channeling calm through the living force to steady his arm. With every clash, the cavern trembled, echoes of past sorrows reverberating through the stalactites above. As the battle waged, Luke sensed the spectre feeding on his doubts. Shadows coalesced, forming whispers that clawed at his mind. Doubts of failure, of turning away from the light. Yet he remembered Yoda's words. You must unlearn what you have learned. Drawing on the cave's current, he transformed fear into purpose, shifting his stance in a single fluid motion. Sweeping under the spectre's guard, he pressed the attack with a flourish of blue-green strikes that carved glowing patterns upon the cavern walls. The phantom staggered, its blade faltering against Luke's resolve. With a final, resonant hum, Luke severed the spectre's saber, the red blade collapsing into ash that drifted across the pool like falling petals. Silence fell as mist reclaimed the chamber. The pool's surface stilled, and Luke's reflection returned, unmasked and unbroken. In that quiet moment, he bowed his head, acknowledging the cave's deepest lesson, that fear exists only to be faced, then overcome. A distant rumble echoed, as though the cave itself exhaled, opening the path back to moonlit swamps beyond. Stepping into the light, Luke carried the cave's echo in his heart, a resolve tempered in darkness. The swamp welcomed him with croaking frogs and swirling mist, each breath a reminder that true courage arises when one endures the night within. Beyond the bog's tangled trails lies the next revelation, Ahch-To's ancient isles and the first Jedi temple's hidden scrolls. There, amid lonely ruins and salt-swept stones, awaits the wisdom of a bygone order. Take a moment to feel the cloak of darkness lift and prepare your spirit for upcoming oceanic mysteries. Mists of Dagobah give way to the rhythmic crash of ocean waves as you leave the swamp's shadows behind. On the horizon, rocky isles rise like silent sentinels against dawn's pale light. Ahch-To, the cradle of Jedi beginnings, where grey stone vaults cling to surf-smoothed cliffs, and the legend of the Order first took shape. Long before the Clone Wars, these oceanic isles gleamed with carved halls and spiral staircases etched into living rock. Cresting waves lapped at weathered thresholds, carrying salt and memory into corridors of moss-clad ruins. Here, initiates assembled beneath vaulted ceilings, their voices echoing ancient chants. In the center of the Great Hall, a circular dais bore the original Jedi code, each line inscribed in spirals of faintly glowing glyphs that pulsed as dawn's mist rolled in. Luke Skywalker returned to these ruins in exile, drawn by the promise of forgotten wisdom. Cloaked against the sea spray, he climbed spiral stairs slick with seaweed, the glyphs illuminating one by one beneath his fingertip. There is no emotion. There is peace. His voice trembled against the roar of waves, carrying hope that these words could guide a fractured galaxy once more. Beyond the dais lay the Hall of Reflections, a chamber where pools of still water mirrored vaulted ceilings stained by salt and time. Initiates once gazed into these waters to contemplate their hearts, seeking clarity before igniting their blades. Luke knelt beside one such pool, watching his own reflection ripple with each passing cloud. He recalled Yoda's lessons of humility and knelt, silent, as the glyph for "There is no ignorance, there is knowledge," glowed beneath. From the Great Hall, a narrow corridor led to the archives of the First Order. Towering shelves carved from solid rock housed scrolls bound in whalebone covers. Tattered parchments detailed the earliest lightsaber forms, stances named for tides, tempests, and the ebb of the sea. Luke ran a careful hand along the nearest shelf, breath catching as he discovered diagrams of the tidal sweep, a saber form long lost to history. Each drawing mapped precise footwork for turning an adversary's offense back into calm defense. Outside, grey gulls circled above cubic stones that once served as acolyte dormitories. Beneath them, remnants of workshops held Kyber carving tools, chisels made from coral and bone. Here, young Jedi shaped raw crystals into blades that hummed with living force. The air still resonated faintly where each strike once fell, sending sparks of possibility across salt-worn floors. Further inland, a cliffside grotto sheltered the Chamber of Voices, a vast space where wind funneled through carved vents to create a chorus of mournful tones. Initiates learned here to attune their thoughts, speaking silent prayers so their voices blended with the gale. Luke stepped into its threshold and closed his eyes, letting each note stir his memories of Yoda's laughter and the starlit fields of Ota Gunga. In that resonance, he found solace and renewed determination. At the highest point of the island, a lone lighthouse formed the temple's final bastion. Perched on sheer rock, its circular platform offered a view of endless sea. It was here that novices once held final rites, invoking the living force as dawn bathed their cloaks in pink and gold light. Luke ascended the narrow path, each step renewing his bond to past and future. He paused at the summit, watching the sun crest the horizon, and felt the code's final line stir within. There is no death, there is the Force. In that moment, the mist-filled air hummed with possibility. The first Jedi had stood here, renewing vows to protect life across every shore and star. Now, Luke embraced his role as custodian of their legacy, knowing that ancient words and stone could guide a new generation toward balance. Below him, the grey stone vaults began to glow faintly as dawn's mist retreated. Each glyph pulsed in time with the rising sun, a silent chorus of renewed hope. Ahead lay the final chapter of your journey, Kyber crystals themselves, sentient shards of light weaving destinies across the galaxy. The ocean's hush fades as you journey from Ahch-To's ancient stones to the heart of the Force's luminous mystery, the Kyber crystals. These rare, Force-attuned gems are more than mere power sources. They are sentient shards of light, humming with a collective consciousness that binds them to their wielders. Their resonance is not just energy, but emotion, forging a bond that defines the very essence of a Jedi's weapon. In the icy caverns of Ilum, younglings once embarked on the sacred gathering, a rite of passage to find the crystal that called to them. The caves, silent and shimmering, were alive with the subtle song of the Kyber. Each crystal emitted a unique frequency, a melody only its destined Jedi could perceive. This harmonious connection was the first step in a lifelong partnership between Jedi and crystal. Kyber crystals are inherently colorless, their hues manifesting only upon bonding with a Jedi. The resulting color reflects the Jedi's path: blue for guardians, green for consulars, and rarer shades like purple, yellow, or white for those with unique destinies. This chromatic transformation is not just aesthetic, but symbolic, representing the Jedi's inner harmony with the Force. However, Kyber crystals are not solely instruments of the light. The Sith, unable to form a natural bond with these living crystals, resort to a process known as bleeding. By pouring their pain, anger, and hatred into the crystal, they corrupt its essence, turning it a menacing red. This act of domination is a perversion of the crystal's nature, a testament to the Sith's desire to control rather than commune. Yet, redemption is possible. Ahsoka Tano, after defeating an Inquisitor, purified his bled crystals through the light side of the Force, restoring their balance and transforming them into brilliant white blades. This act of healing underscores the Kyber's responsiveness to the Force's will, capable of returning to harmony after experiencing darkness. The Kyber's sentience extends beyond its color. Within a lightsaber's hilt, the crystal pulses like a heartbeat, its energy flowing through polished lattices to produce the blade's distinctive hum and glow. This synergy between crystal and wielder is so profound that a lightsaber becomes an extension of the Jedi's will, responding to their thoughts and emotions in combat. The significance of Kyber crystals transcends individual weapons. The Death Star's super laser was powered by massive Kyber crystals, a stark reminder of how the Force's gifts can be twisted into instruments of destruction. This exploitation contrasts sharply with the Jedi's reverence, highlighting the moral dichotomy in the Force's application. In the end, Kyber crystals embody the duality of the Force itself: potential for both creation and annihilation, harmony and discord. Their journey from the depths of Ilum's caves to the heart of a lightsaber mirrors the Jedi's own path, one of discovery, connection, and the constant struggle between light and dark. As you reflect on the Kyber's luminous legacy, prepare to delve into the next chapter, the enigmatic world of Mortis, where the Force's balance is personified, and the eternal struggle between light and dark takes on a new dimension. Drift into the galaxy's hush. No endings, only soft echoes. Secrets rest in silent holocrons. Ancient temples fade to memory. Force currents cradle your thoughts like twilight's gentle tide. Mortis shadows dissolve into silver mist. Kyber crystals pulse their final lullaby. Hidden apprentices melt into the night's embrace. Twin suns set beneath serene skies of wonder. Rest now in peaceful dreams. May the Force guide your sleep.